Planning and Zoning Commission for the City of Granbury will now come to order at 6 p.m. on Monday, January 13th, 2025, Granbury City Hall, City Council Chambers. The first item on the agenda is public comments on agenda items that are non-public hearing items. Do we have anybody that would like to speak? If not, we'll move on to the consent agenda on C, consideration of the regular meeting minutes from December 9th, 2024. Do I have any corrections, additions, or deletions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve as presented.
Chair, I move to approve as presented.
I have a motion by Mr. Hayes to approve the minutes as presented. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Hallman. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is D1, a public hearing. Consider the request of Kelly Clark for a specific use permit for an amusement center, commercial, outdoor, temporary, and light commercial zoning. This property is located at 615 East Pearl Street. The consideration and motion on the specific use permit by City Council. I don't know. Okay, so the property is located in the 500 block of East Pearl Street. Cody?
Good evening, Ms. Chair and Commission. This is located at 615 East Pearl. It is 5.43 acres and also known as the City Beach. It's Lot 1, Block 1 of Granbury Beach Edition, and the SUP is for Amusement Center Commercial Outdoor Temporary. This is an event that has gone on several years. They come in March, have a bull riding festival, and per our ordinances, it is required to have a SUP as well as considerations by council for animals on city property in the public. And the conditions, a specific use permit term shall be for those dates specified by the applicant, which are March 6th through March 19th. And the event shall be conducted in accordance with the city's adopted event festival ordinance and approved by event festival permit request. And the zoning ordinance, specific use permit considerations for P&Z. And the SUP regulations. On January 3rd, city staff mailed out 9 public notices to all the property owners within 200 feet on the municipal tax roll and within 200 feet of the subject property. Notice on December 28th, 2024 was also published in the Hood County newspaper, required by state law. As of this morning, we have 1 letter in favor and 0 in opposition. And staff recommends approval for the SUP permit request, and the voting options are recommend approval of the SUP as presented, recommend approval of the SUP with additional conditions, or recommend denial of the SUP.
Thank you, Cody. Thank you, Cody. I'll open the public hearing. Is the applicant here? And if so, would you like to speak?
I don't believe he is.
Okay, I wasn't sure on that one. Okay, so any questions, commission members for staff?
I do.
Mr. Moore?
Okay. As you know, there's more of a risk today than there ever has been. And there's a potential for a real disaster if a stand falls, if it fails, or if a bull gets out. And I've talked to him about this before. The city only currently requires $1 million in liability, and he had upped it to $2 million. But city manager and I talked today, and he's in strong favor of us taking a look at this and increasing this liability. It wouldn't cost but about $50 to $100 more to increase it to $10 million. If we have one accident out there, it's gonna wipe out that $2 million pretty quick. So, I was going to ask him if he was here tonight if he would commit to that $10 million liability, but he's not here tonight. So anyway, I'm an old insurance agent, so I look at the liability. And it just won't cost that much to increase it and keep our city from going into a real risk problem if something does happen out there.
So if you did it with that additional condition, though, when is the event? It's in March.
Yes, ma'am.
Would they be able to have another meeting to come back if they needed to?
I don't believe so.
I mean, he could recommend approval of the SCP with the additional conditions of additional insurance, and if he elects not to write that policy, then I guess the SUP would be null and void.
Council could hear that and take that in take that in as a consideration to the SUP and approve it with the SUP, that is an additional condition, if y'all want to impose that condition.
If we impose a condition, can council choose to go forward with it or modify it?
I imagine they can modify that, since y'all are just giving a recommendation.
Any other questions for staff? If not, I'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion on the SUP request, please.
I'll make a motion to approve the SUP with the condition of a $10 million umbrella.
I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Hayes. The motion was by Mr. Moore. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is D2. Consider the request of Mary Franco for a specific use permit to allow for an accessory dwelling unit in a planned development with a base of SF4 zoning located at 324 Sardius Boulevard. Shad? Oh my gosh, sorry. Cody.
It's okay.
I actually changed you to Cody. Sorry. Good grief.
So yes, this is zone PDS SF4 single family residential. That's similar to our current R7, and it did have some modifications in the PD standards as far as setbacks and lot sizes. This lot is 5,500 square feet and is platted as Lot 23, Block 6 of Gemstone Estates, and the purpose is to place an accessory dwelling unit on the property. And like I said, this is PDSF4. Looking back at the 1995 zoning ordinance that this PD is referencing, the SUP was required for any and all accessory dwelling units. And it had a weird caveat in there, is if it was over half an acre, then it was allowed. But looking at the SUP chart, it still shows that a SUP was required either way. So here's the proposed site plan from Ms. Franco. In the bottom right-hand corner of that shows a 15 by 21 building with 5-foot setbacks per the plat on the sides and 10 in the rear, which it's meeting those. And there is from building inspections and fire, they were looking at this, and there is something to do with the fire code that if they're closer than 5 feet, I believe, from the house, they were going to have a 1-hour firewall, and they are aware of that, and that will happen since they're within 4 feet of the house. The conditions: specific use permit for accessory dwelling unit as defined and regulated by the zoning ordinance. The site plan shown as Exhibit A is the governing site plan for the property. All parking, maneuvering, display, and storage must be improved hard surfaces. This SUP is subject to all other city code requirements, permits, periodic inspections, and any inspection fees as established by the city's master fee schedule. This specific use permit is subject to periodic inspections and inspection fee is established by the city's master fee schedule. Any violation of the supplemental land use standards or terms and conditions stipulated in the SUP may be deemed in violation of the zoning ordinance, and the SUP may become null and void, or the certificate of occupancy may be revoked. And for the SUP considerations for P&Z, on January 3rd, city staff mailed out 36 public notices to all property owners within 200 feet and on the municipal tax roll within 200 feet of the subject property. Notice was also published in the Hood County newspaper on December 28th, 2024, as required by state law and the zoning ordinance. As of this writing, 0 letters have been received in favor and 1 letter has been received in opposition. And staff recommends approval for this SUP request. And the voting options for tonight: recommend approval of the SUP as presented, recommend approval of the SUP with additional conditions, or recommend denial of the SUP.
Thank you, Cody. I'll open the public hearing. Is the applicant here? And if so, would you like to speak? Yes, I would. Okay.
He's the applicant.
Which one's the applicant? If you would like to speak while she's the applicant speaking, you'll need to fill out a speaker card that's right over here. She'll show you where it is, sir. If you'll fill that out. I'll go ahead and call the applicant forward, please. If you'll go to
Yes, ma'am. If you'll click that orange button when you get up there, it'll turn that microphone on.
Yes, can you hear me? Okay. Yeah, I was seeking permission to,
name and address,
Oh, I'm
please.
sorry.
That's okay.
I'm sorry?
Please state your name
Oh,
and address.
I'm Mary Melinda Franco. At 324 Sardius Boulevard, Granbury, 76049.
Thank you.
Yes, I was seeking permission to build a 15 by 21 accessory building in my backyard for my son so he could live in it. And it will have what is required by the city, the 1 hour code, but we're going to do the whole house. The whole house is the 1 hour fire code instead of just that one wall. We're just going to go ahead and do the whole thing. And then, of course, have a restroom, a small kitchen, and a bedroom.
Okay. Questions for the applicant? Commission members?
Good evening.
Good evening.
What is your HOA? Do you have any regulations against something like this out there in that addition?
No, sir, there are no HOAs there.
Oh, there is no HOA. Okay, thank you.
They have deed restrictions, but not HOA.
I had one. Who plans to construct this? Are you doing it yourself, or are you hiring a professional
No,
builder?
I have J.J. Wells from the Tough Shed. He's going to be structuring it, and we've talked about putting the 24, he's on the flooring. He's going to do the steel joint system, 24 inches apart. It was going to be, I think he said it was going to be 36 at first, but now we're going to make it 24, so the flooring can be a little bit more stronger, a little bit stronger. And of course, he's going to do everything, build it, and then I'm going to have a certified electrician and a certified plumber come in and get the permits from you guys. And I've already established those. They just have to come and get the permits if it gets approved.
So is this a metal building, or is it going to be brick or siding?
No, it's going to be a metal building, but he's going to have the outside. Oh my gosh, the hardy board. It's kind of like a hardy board kind of thing. Yes, it's going to have a roof with shingles and a regular door, and of course y'all requested that I do a 3x5 egress window in the bedroom, so I'm doing that, and I have to do that because that comes with regular standard 4x3s, but I'm having him cut me out a 3x5 window, and I'll have that installed as well.
Okay, thank you.
Is this a single story or two story?
Single story.
Okay.
Mr. Watson?
Yeah, is this going to be a pier and beam or slab, or what's the foundation going to be like?
It's going to be, he said it was going to be a steel joint system, 24 inches apart. So pier and beam, I'm assuming that's a pier and beam.
Okay. Cody, are there any construction restrictions on the, I know what she stated, but do we have things that address what the construction has to be for an accessory dwelling unit?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
There was one of the slides that said it was to be used for minimal use. What's that terminology mean?
As far as minimal use for a residential structure, they're not going in and building a new house in the rear as far as slab and roof and attaching it to the rest of the house, or building a secondary house. This is just an accessory dwelling unit where it's a one bed, one bath, auxiliary type use. It's not going to be a full-blown residential structure as far as three beds, two bath type setup.
So, Cody, in the conditions that you listed,
Yes, ma'am.
is it is it just somewhere in the ordinance or something that says, that it has to be an immediate family member?
Yes,
Okay, so that's why it's not listed as conditions?
yes.
Okay. So you're aware of that, though, right? I know it's for your son.
It's for my
But in
son.
the future, it could only be
Oh, yeah, it
immediate
can be
family.
rental or
Okay, I just want to
anything.
make
Yes,
sure.
yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
A question.
Yes,
Cody,
sir.
what if in the future, like you sold the home, and someone wanted to use it as a rental facility, what would happen then?
It would not be allowed for a rental property. In the SUP for the ADU, in the ordinance, it states that it needs to be for a family member.
It says immediate, doesn't it?
The immediate family member. I think it can go to, I'd have to look at it again, but it's immediate in that first classification of immediate families. So yeah, they would not be able to use it as a rental property and would be cited by code enforcement if that were the case.
Okay.
So it's basically just a bedroom and a bathroom.
Yeah, any small kitchen.
It was a small kitchen on the diagram. Do you have the diagram?
I don't have that actual, I
in
just
the
realized I don't have the site plan, but it is in your packet.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I saw that.
It looks like it's all contained within the setbacks. Okay. I thank you. Any other questions for the applicant right now? If not, thank you. I appreciate it. And I'll call for, where should he put his name? Norman Dubain? Dubain. But if you would go ahead and state your name and address again, please, sir, for the record.
If you'll click that orange button.
Thank you. I just have a couple of questions. If you approve this accessory dwelling, does that, if we, the rest of us homeowners in that development, if we meet the same criteria, does that mean we can get one too? Okay, and what would be the charge to hook up to the sewer at that point? Would you have any idea?
So from our conversations with Public Works and the utility, the plumbing inspectors, the only thing, it would essentially be tying onto your current system. You wouldn't have to have a new sewer or water tap. It would just be what was contained with the house already.
It would just be part of the house system then?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Where do I get the qualifications for this application? Where would I find the entire requirements?
We can
to
get
apply
those for
this?
you. If you get us an inquiry in our office downstairs tomorrow morning, we can get those qualifications for you. This neighborhood is a little different than most just because it is a PD that dates back to the older zoning code. So it doesn't speak to the current zoning code, it speaks to the 1995 zoning code. But we can get all of those materials for you.
Do you have any idea what the square footage limitations would be on this accessory dwelling?
At that time in 95, there were no accessory building sizes. In
But-
current zoning ordinance, it's 450, but since this speaks to the 1995 zoning ordinance, there is no size requirement or how big or how small it can be.
So we're going by 95?
Yes, sir. With this PD, because it was adopted off the 95 code.
Okay. And would that apply to building codes too?
I don't believe it would be based off building codes. It would just be for zoning codes.
Okay, well then we got muddy water there. All right, that's fine. I just wanted to have some questions answered.
Yes, sir.
'Cause I might want to do the same thing myself.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much.
I think this one, sir, this specific one was 15 by 21. It's about 300. This one is 15 by 21. The one is the one that's being proposed tonight, which I think is 315 square feet or something like that. A little over 300 square feet. But it is contained within the setback lines of your plating for your neighborhood. Any other questions for staff? If not, I'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion on the SUP request, please.
Chair, I move to approve the SUP as presented.
Have a motion to approve the SUP as presented by Mr. Hafes. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Moore. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all. D3, let it be read into the record that the applicant has requested this item be continued to a future date to be determined. The next item is E1, our monthly plat report, approval report, and there are no plats in the last reporting period, so there be no further business. This meeting is now adjourned. Thank you all for coming.